Yeah, all right.
You know, yeah, Greg opted
Go ahead and call the meeting to order.
and,
Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from February?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
I'll take a motion to
He said,
approve.
well,
So moved.
to do chemo.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Because I've seen people who do
Second.
chemo.
All in favor?
He said, fine.
Aye. Thank you. Next is downtown lots proposal.
All right, so we have Nick here, who is going to make a proposal here for our EDA lots downtown on Main Street. So I did include the write-ups that Nick had sent in the packet, so if you had a chance to review them ahead of the meeting, you could have done that. But with that, Nick, I think I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. We're starting right.
Thanks for having me. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Nick Pocious. I am currently a teacher at Casson Mantorville High School. I'm also the head boys basketball coach there. I've lived in Casson now this will be my 6th year. I moved here from Byron, and prior to that, I lived in the Twin Cities, which is where I was born. My wife is Eliza. I have 2 sons that attend, well, one attends middle school, will be in high school next year, and then the younger one will be 1 more year in elementary school. So let me tell you about House of Hoops. House of Hoops came from the notion to create more opportunities for young people to play basketball in our region. I'm pretty involved within the basketball community. I was within the Twin Cities, and when I moved to southeastern Minnesota, I continued that. And what I started to notice is that a lot of our athletes within southeastern Minnesota retreat to the Twin Cities to go and get more additional basketball opportunities, whether it be with club teams, training, or what have you. And so my friend and I, Michael Bliss, who is a former teacher at Cam Middle School, he now is no longer in education, him and I came up with this idea to potentially try to create some options so we can keep athletes in southeastern Minnesota. In full disclosure, we initially went to the city of Rochester with the same plan, and Rochester has a lot more red tape and a lot of things or hurdles that we were not prepared to climb. I'm not a businessman by training. I have a sense, but I'm also somebody I'm an educator, and I always will be, even if this plan does get to move forward. And so our first vision was to create a facility where we could house events and create opportunities for young people to come play basketball, and for adults too as well. Not only basketball, pickleball, volleyball, the recreational activities for people to participate in. We saw our initial project as too much because we were looking at like a multi-court facility. It was multi-million dollars. We got a quote for about $18 million, and we were like, no, that's not for us right now. And so we started small. And so we started by building a brand. And we built a brand. You can see our logo here. It's on the packet I sent you. And we started by housing the leagues at the high school. I have good relationships with everybody at the high school. I obviously work there. And we started with building a 3-on-3 league. And our goal was 15 teams. We had 56. And that's from all areas. That's not just from Casson. It was from Byron. It was from Triton. It was from Hayfield. It was from Lake City. It was from Dover-Riota. It was from Pine Island. They were all coming to Casson to play basketball. Stewartville, too. I should include them. I forgot about them, even though I didn't want to. But they were all here. And so we were like, all right, we got something going. And then we formulated spring teams, which are going on right now. My initial goal was I just wanted 4. In my projections, we ended up having 11. And these teams are boys and girls teams from all areas. Yes, there's a large number of Casson athletes, boys and girls, which is what we wanted. But we also have players from Pine Island, Dover-Riota, Stewartville, Byron, Triton, all over coming here to play basketball. And so we were looking like, what could we do that was within our means, that would create an opportunity not only for these young people, but also us adults who enjoy the game and also enjoy indoor court sports. And that's when I saw the lot on Main Street, and I was like, this could be an opportunity for us to be at the scale that would be reasonable for us to manage financially and physically to do so. And so I did some more research and digging about what a facility size could be. I got some quotes, which aren't included in that packet right there. I got those post-haste about what could happen. I have some mock-ups in there. So our vision is to create a single-court facility where we could house our programming, but also create opportunities for adults and other individuals in our region to participate in court-related sports. I've spoke with Eric Myron, who's opened up 507 Fast, about potentially creating a partnership if we ever could make that happen, because he doesn't have a court in his facility. And he was all about it, because it would create more opportunity, more revenue for each of us, and more participation for those athletes and the adults that participate. And so that's the envision. And what we would hope to have is a single court, 6 rims. We would hope to have pickleball lines, so 2 pickleball courts on there. Those would be, so the court would be, this way, the pickleball courts would be going like kind of horizontal, vertical, if you will, depending on how you're looking at me right now. And we'd also have a volleyball court in there as well to help with our volleyball program at the high school. I'm very good friends with their head coach. And also just create opportunities for adults to play volleyball too, that want to during the winter. Winters are tough here, and having more opportunities to access gymnasium space would be key. The one other feature that we would love to have is to create a model where members, I've created a kind of a membership structure, would have 24/7 access to the facility when there isn't other previously scheduled events. So kind of like Snap Fitness or Anytime Fitness, where you can access it with a key card. Be the same kind of principles. Obviously, I'd have my side with security and things of that notion, but that would be our vision to do so. Building would probably be more of a building like you see right there, the exterior. The reason I have it look like that, obviously the material costs are more reasonable for a structure like that, but I do want it to look nice. Obviously, I've worked with I've talked with some steel building companies about what they do, and a lot of them specialize in gyms like this. So if this did get, move forward, I would obviously be more in-depth in creating the architectural design of the exterior of the building. Interior, we want to have it to be a junior-sized basketball court, simply because that's 3,600 square feet, and if the lot size is 4,950, that will continue to allow us with a little bit of office space, bathroom space, and it still allows us to have the pickleball courts as well as volleyball court within it. And I usually cater to younger athletes. Our high school boys, they don't need a junior high size court, but it still serves their purpose. The half court's the same size. But I really work with the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and that size of court is perfect for them, as well for boys and girls. And so that is our vision. Michael Bliss is somebody who kind of is with me in this. He kind of does the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm more the PR, marketing, kind of the director of us. We are an official LLC with the state of Minnesota. We have liability insurance. We're operating under that right now. And so we just don't have a home. And that's what we're looking to do. And we love it to be in Casson. I love to make our community not only a basketball hub, but a fitness, recreational hub, where people can know they can come here and do other activities, and with the economic impact that we could potentially have if we maintain the numbers that we have for our 3-on-3 in the fall. That was 56 teams. Each team had 4 to 5 athletes on the team. The parents were also coming. We didn't charge admission, which I should have, because I would imagine we would have made a lot more profit revenue on that side. We didn't, because we wanted to start small. There was over 200 plus people coming to Casson every single Sunday during the fall, and there will again, probably more this time, because one of my gathering is we will have more teams registering because it went so well last year. So knowing that, there is also opportunity for them to access our restaurants and other businesses within our community. And then if we also have the club teams here, we hope to bring tournaments here, and then other things will be coming here so people can access the other amenities that Casson has. So I see it as a bright spot. There is nothing else like this in southeastern Minnesota. There is nothing in RCTC, but RCTC's got the clamps on rental. It's very difficult to rent. Actually, we work with a company called Breakdown USA. They rent our facilities in the summer over RCTC. They come here. So we have a big tournament here every single summer. And also, there's the RAC, but the RAC is a private club, and they're not specializing in court-related sports for all ages. So, on that note, I'd love to turn it over for questions. Hopefully I get a decent overview, and then if there's any questions, I'd love to answer them.
The biggest problem we have on Main Street, probably with more people, is parking.
I thought of that, and so I've been to many of these types of facilities, particularly in Iowa. Iowa has a lot of them, and they always seem to be in areas like I'm proposing, and parking is a kind of made with what you will. Exactly, that a lot of people park on the streets in those spots. I can maybe work with our local businesses if it comes up, to work, talk about parking options. But that is an area I knew that would be a hurdle, that would probably, if we said, let's do this, that we'd have to investigate and talk about. But it's true.
We have a lot of people coming from out of town. They do have the parking out there as you come into town, but it's a walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, I remember when I went, my oldest son plays, he plays in a team in the Twin Cities, an example. We drive up to Lakeville every Monday and Thursday for him to practice. And so, yeah, when we go to Iowa and Chicago and stuff like that, we're parking all over the place to walk to these types of facilities.
Would a lot of the utilization be on the weekends, or what's typical? So to your point, like Sundays are probably a good day where it wouldn't be a big issue because
Sundays would be
there are a
fine.
couple of things that are open, restaurant like Tammy's or the Legion might be, but other than that, like a lot of the other businesses wouldn't be impacted. I mean, what do you usually see for your days?
So, if it was we push forward, it wouldn't only be a Sunday business, it would be an everyday thing, obviously. And it would be...
For your tournaments and stuff.
Oh, tournaments and
You don't see
stuff.
that many people every...
No, that would be scheduled, like,
Sure.
I'm working with a organization called the Minnesota Heat. We're about trying to get a tournament down to southeastern Minnesota, and that would be one that I would probably alert local businesses and be like, hey, we got all these teams coming here, let's be ready for this, and things like that. But that would be once a summer, probably, for something like that.
To determine like that, would it all be played at that facility, or would you use the schools?
I would use the schools too.
You couldn't have 56 teams.
Correct.
So it wouldn't be like 500 people are there all day.
No, and obviously there's gonna be capacity there probably too, but we would use the high school and the middle school and all of those as well. Yeah.
Jim, aren't we looking at paving that, city lot behind the Legion, like where it's gravel parking right now?
Sure, well, I know the city council has. I think that right now that's sort of slated maybe to look at it again next year, maybe even this fall, depending on how the budgeting goes and that sort of thing. I don't know, Chris or Dan could answer that probably too, but I think that's kind of where our timeline is.
Yeah, I was just thinking if, 'cause that would be adjacent to...
Sure, no, I mean, I think we would, if this was to move forward, I think that's certainly something that would be on our radar for paving that. I mean, it is already, but even to,
I don't know that paving's gonna make the parking nicer, because it's full of cars now.
Yeah, I mean, I
Without
think, we do usually see a little bit more efficiency when it's paved, because there's lines.
Yeah.
Because, right now, you might see somebody park kind of off kilter, and they take two spots, but you're right, I mean, you might see 10% more parking, but it's not gonna be a ton more, so,
No.
in terms of
Not gonna be
capacity,
a ton
yeah.
more.
I think it would, I don't think it would, I think it would help. I don't think it would harm the parking. But I think it would give you more available parking next to this type of thing. So, right now, sorry, I was a couple minutes late.
You're good.
Sorry for that, but, essentially, the ask is the EDA lots.
Correct.
And is that kind of are we open to that? Is that kind of the ask?
That's the initial ask, yeah.
I think it sounds, in general, it sounds like I think it would be a nice kind of complimentary thing to have in our town. I know, like, I have a 3-year-old, he, likes the idea of playing basketball, he's not much taller than the ball, right? So it's hard to dribble, but it's, but finding something to do in the winter.
Yes.
Is a definite, challenge. We went, a number of times to, like, that new indoor playground in Rochester, Boundless, so he could run around. Having something locally would be really nice, so that he could run around, and I don't have to drive a half hour each way.
Right.
So things like that, I think I think that would be a nice fit for what our town is,
Yeah. I'm sure the indoor pickleball would be something that might be attractive to folks too in the wintertime.
I think so.
We get a lot of users, even up at Veterans Park, which is outdoors, so it's a little harder to play when you have the wind and everything, but indoor in the wintertime would be really popular, I'm sure.
Well, I know the community ed has a wait list for theirs too, so if you had another student.
They do, and I would work, I know Jenny Carrier pretty well, I would obviously work with them too. I would like it to be a continued partnership with the school district to help create more space, because we struggle with that right now anyways. And so that would be another part of the plan, while we have members, but also utilizing it for practice time for our youth, volleyball, adult leagues, you know, things like that as well.
I'd be in favor of talking about like transaction specifics for the lots. I think this seems like a really good, it's a commercial use, attracts people, it provides an amenity to our residents and families, local partnerships with our school district, and other, you know, on 507 FAST, when they're up and running. I guess, would that be kind of the right next step at this time, would be to just, make a motion to have staff work on, getting, you know, some more transaction-specific stuff for this? I mean, is that...
Well, I guess, in reality, you know, you're looking to buy lots, or you're looking us to give them to you, or what do you think?
That's up for discussion, I guess. I would be totally fine buying
Well,
it.
to have that discussion, so you know, 'cause I think if he can make it work, it sounds good to me. I'd rather have the private sector doing this kind of thing than even having the school build a fill house or something like that isn't likely to happen, so.
Correct, that is
Speaking
not,
from,
that is not, no, it is not, and that was the other motivation for this, correct?
Sorry, Janice, what?
I'm sorry.
I said, speaking from the private sector, who does own some lots across the street, which are 3 lots there, would you be interested in a larger space?
Yes, if possible. That would obviously change some of the financial side for me, but that's okay. I am working with lenders, and I just was waiting for this to really dive deep into the numbers more. There's a couple areas, other things I'm gonna do for funding. We do have a certain revenue base right now from what we've already done, so I have funds to use to put down on these things, correct? Yeah, I would be open to that. That could create more opportunity then, too, depending how big they are and what we can do with it, yes.
So what has she got on that side there?
Yeah, well,
Because, I think, you know, whatever, I'm open to it, Janice, you know, if your lot works better, parking's probably a little bit worse even on
3
that
lots.
side, but
Huh?
parking's probably a little bit worse even on that scale, there's no parking in the rear, but
Yeah,
at the
there's
same
no
time, it's
parking
still
in the
gonna,
rear, but they
that's
can
gonna have to
still
get
use
figured
the
out.
parking over there, right?
Yeah, and there's still gonna have to be people walking one way or the
Yeah,
other,
you're
so, yeah,
talking-
no.
Yeah.
I think from the EDA's perspective, we can just, as a general consensus, it sounds like nobody's against this.
Oh, gosh,
Just
no.
direct staff to
No.
work with
This is amazing.
with the hoops, and
Cool.
you guys work with it. If there's something actionable to bring back, bring it back, but I don't think we can take any, as long as everybody's kinda going the direction, it's a great,
Cool.
figure out the spot that's best, if that,
Okay.
either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Just full disclosure, though, there had been somebody else interested in that specific lot you're
Okay.
talking about.
Sure, that's great.
And those individuals had some testing done, and it's unsure of what is buried there.
Oh, interesting.
So that, we have all been told that, so
Okay.
we need to disclose that to you.
That's good to know. I appreciate that.
I think, wasn't she looking to see if she could have second story?
She wanted a basement.
yeah, she wanted a basement, though.
Yeah,
so
I
Well,
know.
that's-
basement was the issue, I think slab on grade probably wouldn't be as big of a factor, but yeah,
No,
that is a good
depending on
point.
what
Yeah,
they're doing.
We won't need a basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Janice, your lot now, there was a building there obviously too, did they?
3 buildings.
Sure.
Where's your lot?
Right
Do you
here,
mind?
just,
Right, kitty cornered across the street next to Tammy, well, not next,
It's on the north
next to the
side.
dance studio.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know exactly where that is. Okay, great.
like a wall right there.
Have you ever had borings done over there, or no?
No,
No. That
but
might
it
be
did
something.
have basements, all 3 of those buildings, when they burnt down.
No,
had
we don't really
basements.
want a boring.
Slab on grade stuff. We don't
No,
want
just
it.
put some concrete down, it'll be fine.
No worries on Main Street. Slab on grade only.
See how much mercury we can find.
Great. Well, I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I'd be very interested in.
Yeah. What I can do is, we can maybe, you have my contact information, we can
Yeah.
exchange it before I leave.
Sure.
And then we can explore that, because our timeline is very flexible. I would love for this to be, 2025, a full calendar year,
Yeah.
easily, if that. I know how these things go. So, there's always gonna be all kinds of hoops and hurdles to jump, and I understand that. But that is our projection, to try to have it, June 2025 is what I was hopeful. I think that's somewhat reasonable.
Sounds doable.
Yeah. So,
to get dirt.
yeah, exactly, great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate you all.
Best of luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for investing in our community.
Oh, well, we love it here.
That's huge.
We love it here, and we want to bring it here, so it's you know, outside of this, I have a lot of friends, and obviously in the basketball community, and they are starving for these options.
And volleyball.
And volleyballs too. What's that?
I'll be there.
Yeah, they are, and so, this is, if we can do it,
And the pickleball.
and the pickleball would be great as well, my wife has been saying that for years, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll have our financial report.
All right, so, yeah, they do have the financial report included in your packet. Let's see if there's any questions about that. Let's see.
How did you end up with crop science?
So with crop science, we did present Mr. Luttrell with an option to do a petition and waiver agreement, which basically would make an assessment for the unpaid balance on his lot. But that was like a month ago now that we presented that to him, and I haven't heard back from him since, so that's where that is.
So he has no intentions of making payments.
Right, it's still unpaid.
Well, he hasn't been able to access the property still, so that's his stance, is, you know, he can't access the property, he's not gonna make any payments until he can. So, we did have a good conversation with him, and he agreed to the assessment. We haven't gotten a signed copy back yet, but, I mean, that is what it is, so.
Okay. Well, once we get that signed, we'll transfer it over.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other one is the Connecticut Brewing, and that's, you're probably gonna talk about that one too, Ian.
Well, I have to follow up with Scott to figure out what's,
As far as,
He's missed 3 payments.
yeah.
Right, he hasn't
Not much
paid since January, so.
Yeah,
He's kind of in the same boat in my mind. If you don't want to pay your payment, then
yeah, it should be the same as we did with crop science. I would just tell him it needs to be brought
Yeah.
current in the next 30 days, otherwise we'll start the actions.
okay.
Yep.
Yep.
because I'm sure he's paying his other
Just to get them moving,
Understood.
if that makes sense, everybody.
No, I'm all for that, because
Yeah.
we're gonna do it to one, we do it to all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's just not fair to the taxpayers who have the
Right.
money in the account to.
Well, yeah, that's
So-
just good business.
Yep.
Okay.
on to your coordinator's report, Ian.
All right, so just a few things there. Rev-wise, we had our last meeting on April 11th where we did a fun activity called e-talent mapping. So basically what we did was we came up with a list of all the businesses we could think of in town. If anyone wants to wager a guess as to how many we came up with, we could do
110.
that. Huh?
400.
No.
10.
Well, the number on my list was 134. Yeah, but then with that, we came up with a specific typology for each one. So there's aspiring, startups, youth, transition, survival, lifestyle, restarts, growth-oriented, serial, and entrepreneurial growth. And so with that, those are basically, you know, saying different things. Aspiring startups, youth, those are more like, we're just getting started, maybe we need some assistance to get started, not sure what we're doing yet, but we're up and we're running, basically. Survival, that's more like a business is struggling, not sure how to make things better. Lifestyle, those are businesses that have kind of been around forever, they have got a solid thing going on, they're not really looking to grow anymore, but, you know, they're doing okay, pretty much. And then serial is more like your large companies, so like your Domino's, your Burger King, your Hy-Vee, your giant corporations that just make new locations, that's just what they do. And then growth-oriented and entrepreneurial growth, those are similar to aspiring startups. They can be around longer, but you know they're actively trying to grow. Basically, is what that is. And so with that, we'll use that information going forward to kind of figure out what sort of assistance we can provide according to which typology that was assigned. So, let's see.
So,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Yes,
Don't be
yes,
interrupt. So, did you assign this typology, or did you, like, confirm with the business that that's where they're at? Or are you just
No,
saying,
this was just our thoughts within our Rev group.
hey, have they ever followed up? I mean, 'cause if you, as an outside group, you look and go, hey, that business is struggling, but what if you talk to that business and they're not really struggling, but you've assigned them as a struggler?
Yeah, I think there's some additional follow-up
Okay.
once we, like, actually reach out, but, because we could be wrong, but this was just to get, like, our initial thoughts on what businesses are, like, right now.
Okay.
Or they could say, yeah, we're dead, we're out tomorrow.
Well, and some of those, I would imagine some of those survival ones probably can go to transition too, if you've got people that are maybe at the end of their career that are, the business isn't
Yeah.
doing well, they're ready to retire, so.
So that just, the group was looking at it saying, here's where we spot all of them, then the next step is to follow up with the business
I
and see
think
what
that might
said?
be part of it, I'm not totally sure, but,
Somebody might be a little,
Offended?
well, it's not, yeah.
come in and say, hey, we're here to help you with your struggling business, because we've identified you as struggling, and you think, well, how the
Yeah.
heck did you know I was struggling? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I mean, I don't know where the connection is there, if that's maybe the next step.
Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't say struggling, I should say more, in need of...
Or any of these, I mean,
Yeah.
to know where the business wants
Yeah.
the help.
Struggling, you could say.
Because some might just say they're perfectly happy right where they're at, and
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then the Dodge County Housing Trust Fund, I met with them on April 16th. They're still really interested in that residual lot in the Vale Second, so I guess next for that is, they're gonna come back to council at some point, maybe at the next council meeting. Not tomorrow, but the next one. So yeah, that one could be exciting, we could get another housing project there. Let's see. April 19th, I had a meeting with the Southeast Economic Development Professionals. The topic of discussion for that one was about the possibility of creating a Regional Development Organization, or RDO, which we don't have in southeast Minnesota, and we're kind of unique in that sense, because most other areas in the state do have an RDO, and basically those can just offer different assistance and programs, resources, within their region. So just really early stage of talks right now, but could be something that comes forward in the future. And then ReadyWise, last meeting there was April 15th, and for that one, the main topic was establishing like a roundtable forum discussions. So at the Ready annual meeting, they did have I would say it was a pretty interesting roundtable discussion with a few different business owners in the Ready territory. And so basically the idea with this was to kind of keep that going, but maybe have different communities in the city, or in the region, host those going forward. So that could be something coming up. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Ian. Up next is your city administrator report.
Sure, I just was attending a conference last week, so you've got some write-up on that. A couple other things, legislative update, they've only got about 2 weeks left, actually, in the legislature, so that may be a good thing, frankly, if we can get out without too many more things getting added on. We'll see how that goes. Ice Arena had a good year, was in the Assemble meeting in Zumbrota recently, and talked about a few different programs that are going on, and so some interesting things going on there. So, other than that, I don't really have a lot for the EDA today.
Thank you, Tim. We got our REV Program Development Opportunity Profile.
Okay, so I did just include this in the packet. I know a lot of you were there when it was actually presented, but for those of you who weren't, just a good thing to look through. I would say overall there wasn't much that I found to be totally new information, but you know, still good information to have. So region-wise, basically what they found in their report is that even though the population of the region is still growing pretty quickly, Casson included, the unemployment rate is still like decreasing, so that's pretty interesting. So basically what they take away from that is that there's a labor shortage. And why there's a labor shortage, not sure, but that's just what they found in this section here.
Well, the labor force participation level has dropped too, so that's probably something as well.
Yeah, that's part of that. Let's see. Demographics change, it's just the same, you know, in Casson specifically, it's growing quickly with younger families and senior-aged people. And also the community is getting wealthier and more educated. This was the takeaway with that section, I think. And then further on, it talks about commuting patterns. I think we may have seen these figures before, but basically over 90% of the workers in Casson are commuting out. Over 90% are leaving. And then only 258 are staying within Casson, and then 521 are coming from outside and commuting into Casson for work. And let's see, I think towards the very end here, it just talks about different sectors that are growing the fastest. So it talks about, here I'll get to it, building, finishing contractors, brickstone, related construction, so pretty construction heavy. I think these numbers are for all of Dodge County actually, but you can see pretty construction heavy with the growth. And I think that's pretty much everything that I've got. If there's any questions. Yes.
Actually, for Tim, in this EDA review, isn't this is yours, yeah? It says, the other sports complex on the south side of Casson.
Is that 507 Fast?
507 Fast?
Your Myron's place. It's
By
being
Quick
built
Trip?
out by Quick Trip, the big wooden frame that's
Oh,
going
I
up to the
wondered what
east.
that was.
Yeah, I've got that later on in the agenda.
I don't get that far south.
Discussion on development.
It's not that, it's right next to Quick Trip.
I don't get that far
You don't go
south.
to Quick Trip there anymore.
What?
You don't have to go south to go to Quick Trip anymore.
No, I go north. Okay, never mind. So, what kind of sports complex is that?
Workout facility.
Yeah, I think that was in the newspaper, they said.
Fitness and strength
Work out, a lot of weight training for the kids.
From 10-year-old to adults.
10-year-old to adult, but they're not having,
Individualized, nope, it's all individualized
it's just a
training.
workout, like the one on Main Street.
No, it's different than the one on Main Street. That one's strictly strength for heavyweight. The 507 Fast will be a training facility to train them in specific sports.
To play tennis.
Whatever sport they want, dance, tennis, they'll have their own workout
I
plan.
think it's generally a youth-orientated, more so than the one downtown, which is kind of for everyone, but anyway, so, yeah.
Sounds like you might be building a bar there too, though, so keep an eye on that.
I
Or
think they-
a loft or something where parents can hang out and have a drink, that's what I heard.
There's no drinks,
No drinks?
no drinks.
Okay.
Well, not yet.
There is a lot.
Juice bar, maybe, I don't know.
There will be coffee, BYOB, there's coffee and
Milk.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I do think that, you know, that's an interesting area, you know, we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about with this group too. I mean, you know, I really hope that, we see someone who's interested in, you know, like a restaurant in that area. Because to me, like, I thought, you know, you all know I bring up Pizza Ranch, but I mean, honestly, if you're gonna have 200 and however many athletes he's talking about with 3-on-3 basketball, like, that feels like some kind of business along those lines would be a real easy, and I just, you know, the trick is, you know, he's gonna be an entrepreneur, which is great, we wanna encourage that, like, you know, I've talked to Pizza Ranch, they want someone who's gonna be the person who owns it.
Yeah.
They're not gonna build a corporate pizza ranch, it just is, you gotta have somebody who says, hey, I'm gonna put my $500,000 on the line and do it, and I think here would be very, I mean, there's so many good locations, you could do it up by the school, shoot, you could do it down here, there's land, you know, I mean, because EGA is building, they're building down there too, and there's gonna be guys that are gonna want, you know, contractors and stuff, they're gonna want that kind of stuff, truckers down there with Quick Trip, so, yeah, I feel like that's something we're still kind of missing, because we talk about all these people that go out of town, you know, and they go out of town, and that they end up eating in Byron, or they end up eating in the west side of Rochester, which, you know, it's fine, but I mean, that's something I think we're still kind of missing, is getting at least one of
Very
those.
clean.
You know, so, anyway, something we always keep an eye on, but it's hard to, you can't just force it, you know, somebody has to take it on, so.
maybe
Yeah,
it's
it's
you.
pretty spendy.
You're the one that has the passion for.
I don't have the money, Tom. I I don't have the money, I've looked at it, I think you need to have like you have to have like $500,000 free and clear, like totally unencumbered, and then it's like $1 million, like, commitment, basically.
All right.
So,
That might be something to look at in the red team too, an angle.
that could be a good project. No, I mean, honestly, I think like that's something that we're kind of, we've got a couple good restaurants, where we're kind of restaurant poor for the size town we have. I mean, you go to Waseca, definitely more blue collar, definitely lower incomes, but they have a Pizza Ranch, they have all these other restaurants,
Byron has Dairy Queen.
All right.
Yeah.
I went to Dairy Queen a couple weeks ago,
I would agree with you. I know we could compete.
Yeah, I think you're right, if we could get that one to close, but
Yeah.
anyway.
So, we'll move on now.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll move on to our 4th Avenue Lane Northeast Apartments.
Okay, so, we were approached by the 504 Development folks, Tim and I were, just about their proposed apartment project up by the high school area. Let's see. So, basically, they did, entertain the idea of making a request for TIF. Nothing official yet, but we did just want to, run this by you guys first. So this was the presentation that they had given to us before our discussion. So this was the project location, if you don't know where it is. Let's see.
It's the corner lot by the elementary and middle
Yep.
school, where the townhomes are,
In that house.
those 8 units in the house in the corner, that one. Aaron
Apartment
Thompson's
would go on
place.
the south side, next to the school,
Yep.
next to the middle school.
So,
Yeah.
quick question right off the top.
Yep.
Are they committed to actually doing it? Because this plat was approved 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They never seem to move on anything.
Right.
This is their financing proposal, so
Yeah,
they're
right.
recruiting,
Right, so as far as
Investors.
you guys, staff goes,
Yeah.
before I would say, hey, this is a great idea, entertain, they need to commit to
Yeah.
either doing something or not.
well, we're definitely the
Drag
last
on.
ones in. I mean, once they have their project ready, this is kind of like because it's pay-as-you-go.
Okay.
So they'd be looking at putting this into their pro forma, as they were once the project's
I just don't want to see you guys
financed.
wasting.
No, I
half time
think this
on
is
something that's not
informational
gonna
for you, we met with the Thompsons and, folks from the Judishes, for a half hour or whatever, and they said, here's our proposal, and we said, okay, thank you very much. I think Ian's just sharing it today, so we kinda know where it's at, kind of an update, really.
Yeah.
As you know, it took a lot longer with those townhomes than I think would have expected it to. I have been told they're fully occupied now, which is good. They're rental instead of for sale now, because originally, I think the model that Aaron was looking at was for sale, and now they're rental, and, so anyway, this is kind of their next iteration of that, proposal, I think, so.
Okay. And they're still going with the same original plan of leaving the house there?
In the fullness of time, I think they're planning on removing the house. They'll actually probably be putting some townhomes there, I would imagine, but I don't know what their time frame on that is,
Sounds good, thank you.
I know Aaron isn't living there anymore, he's moved out to Common
It's a
Acres,
rental
so.
now.
They couldn't sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the market for rent.
Okay. Well, yeah, so just informational for you.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Ian. Overview of our current and future developments.
Yeah, so we've discussed, a lot of these already, but just wanted to make sure that we're all aware of what's going on. So this was the concept for part of the cemetery land that the city owns. So basically this is, this concept was submitted by the current owners of the Windsor Court, manufactured home community. And so this is going to be on the agenda for the planning commission meeting next week, actually, this review of this proposal. But basically, it's more manufactured homes, just on the east side of the property. So there would still be a considerable amount on the west side that would be available for future development if this goes through. But this is just what we've got on the table right now.
Would they actually be building the house, like, they would actually put up the houses? Or would it be lots and then people would bring in their own?
I think that's his model. They rent the lots to people, and
Yep.
I think modular is maybe the word they use now, but, mostly built over in Worthington, there's a couple home builders over there that do it, so.
Yeah.
Yes, but they would be, people would bring in their own titled manufactured home. Modular, I think usually you're talking panelized walls that get affixed to a real property structure that is
Well,
considered.
the way he referred to it was modular, because they are, you know, they're not, they don't really use the term manufactured home at all anymore, so, probably because of the stigma with that a little bit,
Sure,
but.
they end up being, people bringing, so I guess that was just what I was trying to, they're, basically, you would go to them, you'd say, hey, I wanna pick out this house, and then.
They have certain models and that's
And
it.
then you would buy that you would buy that model, and then you would lease the land, the lot from them,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. It wouldn't be, they're not gonna go out and build a bunch of houses and then sell the house.
No,
with-
No, I don't think so.
They just have certain models and you pick and, you know.
And then how are they taxed?
On their market value?
No, I mean as real estate or as mobile homes?
It's not a mobile home.
Well, so the underlying property pays taxes, and then the folks actually pay a tax directly to the county, so you pay it on your property, you know, so the homeowner would pay a tax separate from the land, which is one separate tax payment from the person who owns the land underneath it.
Because the modular home is taxed with the land.
Mhm.
Because we just sold a lot to
Oh, sure.
somebody from England who brought one in, so.
All right.
And then, let's see, so A&A Electric, if you didn't know, is doing a pretty substantial expansion. They're building a whole new building, basically the same size as their current building, but just in their same area, so that's pretty exciting. You can see it under construction already. Let's see, this is just stuff from their site plan. Let's see. Oh, you know this. Oh, this is the EGAN. I'll zoom out here so we can see it. EGAN company is coming. Let's see. Another large building down there at the end of the street, over by the old Quick Trip. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, I call it the old Quick Trip. From not that old, but yeah, that one. And Minnesota Ag Group, I think, is the next one in here, is doing another very large expansion project, if I can get there. Let's see. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, maybe I forgot to put that one in there. But yes, Minnesota Ag Group is doing an expansion project, if you didn't know.
We've seen that.
Yeah, you can see it right from the highway. That's good. And then this was a preliminary plat that was recently approved. Let's see. It's called Oscar Meadows up on the northwest side. It's a 40-acre parcel to begin with, but as far as now, they only submitted a plat for the south half. So this is 49 single-family home lots that could be built. So that's probably the biggest new plat that we've gotten so far this year. What is. And yeah, and then just the Edge Apartments, that one is going to be starting construction here in the next couple of months, so that one's exciting. Let's see. Any questions about any of these developments going on?
Definitely needed for the future growth, because I drove around Sunday night for a couple hours, and usually once a month we'll go out and drive around and look. A lot of the developments are full.
Yeah, no, lots, there are
Common
lots.
Acres is an anomaly, that's different lots, but for your normal, they're getting to be pretty full up as far as numbers of lots that are available to build on, so.
Yep, South Fork's all full. There's 4, I think, in Meadowbrook, second, and there's maybe a couple little ones, but they're mostly townhome over in Big Void eighth, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
Honestly,
inventory.
that's why Tony's moving on that Oscar Meadows, Oscar.
One
yeah.
in Maston Creek.
Sure, right down there on the southwest side, yep. So, no, we got a lot of exciting stuff going on. I mean, new apartment complexes, and new those industrial buildings, commercial buildings are great because of the tax benefit too for the community, and they bring employees, you know, which is something we need as well, so.
Okay, thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
Any other business, or?
We have a lot of building. Do we have businesses more for people looking for jobs?
That was a lot of those up there, I thought, like Egan and,
I mean, again, that'll be another, you know, I don't know how many, is that 20 jobs they're looking at immediately,
Yeah.
I think?
Yeah.
You know, 504 fast, I don't know how many they're planning. How's that model gonna work? Is that gonna bring coaches in, or are they gonna actually have people like employed there?
The 507 Fast will
507 fast, yeah.
be hiring part-time coaches.
Okay.
Some live in Byron, some live in Casson, some
Sure.
live in Rochester. Could be up to 12 to 15 part-time coaches.
Okay.
And then they'll have employees to check people in, they'll have employees that'll be selling the coffee,
Sure.
selling the little food items,
Juices.
yeah. So,
Awesome.
Sounds good.
okay, items for June.
Yeah, sorry, I had a typo on the agenda there.
Would like to hear back on,
Loans.
those
Yeah.
two loans.
Yep.
For sure.
We'll try and see if we can't connect. Janice, when's the best time for you, you know, if we can help him connect with you, or we can talk, kind of have some kind of meeting, 'cause,
This
you know, if
week.
you're interested,
Yep, we are.
are you in town, there's most of this next month, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No trips planned.
Trying to build a house.
Oh, right, sorry.
So, why don't you see if you can connect
Yeah.
Janice and him, and see if there's some kind of conversation we have there, see what works best for him, okay?
That sounds
This
good.
weekend, I'm going up to graduation St. Ben's. That's pretty much mine.
Won't do it this weekend, then.
Okay,
Otherwise.
yeah, sure.
It'll be all right.
Okay.
With that, thank you everybody for coming, and our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 4th.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, Dan.
We got a motion in a second, or what we got?
Yeah, do we?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah. All